I was confined to bed, tube fed, unable to move, constant pain, and that was my life for 12 years. Once I got sick, I lost my memory, and it was just like a computer swiped. I remember saying to Mum, she used to tell me about my childhood, and I think I annoyed her one day and I said, it sounds like I had a really good childhood. I cried the first day I was able to get a pair of socks on, 12 years. It's the simple things in life that mean the most.
There's going to be people listening that are maybe going through this. They have a family member going through this, and I know they're going to get so much hope.
And if I hadn't have gone back, I wouldn't have gone back to do my degree, my masters, and I wouldn't be where I am here with what I know, with my knowledge and everything, trying to help everybody. I would say hold on to hope is the one thing that got me through. I even called my dog Hope.
Did you?
I formed the group JustUs 5 years ago. It's a pun on justice, to provide adults with disabilities, no matter what disability, social activities in safe, inclusive and accessible venues or environments.
What small things make big changes for people that have access issues?
I'll be honest, for me the one big thing.
Welcome to the Dig podcast. I am your host and I am honoured to be your host. My name is Caroline O'Neill and the Dig podcast is my passion, telling real stories from real people about work, about life, about challenges, about the good times and the bad times, and I'm honoured to have you listen each week. I also am so grateful for you listening each week, but I've got a wee thing to ask you. So thousands and thousands of people download the podcast, but they still haven't hit subscribe on YouTube or follow on Spotify or Apple. So if you love the podcast and you like listening to the guests every week and you get great advice from them, then that's just my wee ask of you before we start today. If you could take time to just hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, it means that I can keep reaching out to people and asking them to come on, and they know more about the podcast because of the algorithm and you hitting that follow button, and it helps the podcast grow. So that's just what I'm asking, a little bit of help on that today. And now we're going to get straight to our guest.
My guest today, what can I tell you about her? I first heard her speak on International Women's Day in Enniskillen. It was actually at Waterways Ireland, just to give them a wee shout out for bringing people together. But she got up and there wasn't a noise in the room as she told us about her journey in life. And I suppose the Dig podcast, as always, as you know, been about work and entrepreneurship, and then it transitioned into real lives because we're all living a life with all these challenges. And Shelley Cowan has had more than most, but what a woman. I'm not going to tell her whole story. She's here to tell you it, but I know you're going to be inspired by her resilience and passion for life. Shelley, thank you for being on the Dig podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it's such an honour. And whenever I was like, I'll ask her and see what she says, you're like, yeah, no problem, no problem. Who is Shelley Cowan? What's your story? I've written down here just so that people know, I suppose, and I want to do this because I want to make sure I get the name right. I know it's hard to say, but you were diagnosed with myalgic encephalomyelitis, also known as
ME. Very ME, yeah.
At 15. Tell us about who Shelley was before she was 15 and what happened when you were 15.
Well, Shelley was a very quiet teenager. I was a big girl. I was 14, 15 stone before I got sick. And up until that, I was a very active and happy child, and just came home from school with what looked like 24-hour flu-like symptoms, and unfortunately it wasn't. I just deteriorated more and more. In about 18 months, I ended up with, I was hospitalised for 10.5 months then. And Mum and Dad they didn't know what to do, so they brought me home. And I had the best parents ever. Mum was a nurse and Dad was a builder. So Dad knocked down the walls, extended them, and Mum retired and to look after me. So for 12 years or 4,380 days, I was confined to bed, tube fed, unable to move, constant pain, and that was my life for 12 years.
And you said all there in a few sentences, but 12 years, so what do you remember about life before that happened? Do you have good memories of life up to 15?
No.
No.
Once I got sick, I lost my memory.
You did?
And it was just like a computer swiped my whole brain. Didn't know how to walk. It didn't know really what to do. All my school friends were coming to say hello, and they were like strangers to me. So I remember saying to Mum, she used to tell me about my childhood, and I think I annoyed her one day, and I said, it sounds like I had a really good childhood, and it upset her, you know. So.
And so those years whenever you were confined to bed, what's your memories? And I feel bad asking you to go through this, but I know this is part of your story where you do tell, and there's such a lovely positive story now because you're sitting here, the beauty that you are. But what was that like? What was it like then? What's your memories of time then? Because I didn't know, and this is my own ignorance, and you don't know till somebody tells you, but I didn't know ME can affect you like this. I didn't see it like this. So what is ME, first of all, Shelley?
ME is a neurological illness, and it basically, I was the 1% that was confined to bed and tube fed, and unfortunately I was the 1%, and days were so long. There's some days I can't remember, and other days just seemed like years. There was times that most of the time I thought I was never going to get out of it. The smile was always there, the frustration was there plenty, but it was just constant, and I felt so sorry for my mum and my dad and my brother. It wasn't just me going through that illness, they were going through it. They couldn't come in, my brother David couldn't put music on, he couldn't have friends around. I was just so sick, so ill, and just every day was telling yourself it's going to get better. Life will get better. There's more to this life than me being here. And I always had that feeling that there was more to my life. So that's what kept me pushing on. But there was a lot of stubbornness in me.
Yes. And I've heard this story.
Very stubborn.
The people that haven't heard it tell us how that stubbornness would have presented. Like when people said you might not walk again, or like what were you saying to yourself then?
I just knew that there was more to me than just this. I used to be sent postcards from around the world from my friends and family when they were away on holidays, and they were pinned up around the bed, and I used to tell everybody I'll be there. I'll be to every one of those countries, and they kind of were like, are you sure? And they just had it that this was going to happen, and that was it.
So how did that happen then? What were the first steps towards getting out of the bed? Can you remember?
The first steps was my body was my muscles were very tight, couldn't do anything with me. I couldn't be hoist lifted. I couldn't even have a pad on. It was very much rolling to change and being cared for. There was no music, there was no lights on. It was very, very, could do nothing. My body needed complete rest. The more that I was getting physio, or the more that people tried to open and manipulate my fingers or try to get my muscles to work again, the worse they were getting, they were tightening. So my mum came up with props. So she made me neck collars to make sure that my neck was constantly to the one side. So she used to put pillows in to make sure that they'd start to edge it back. My fingers were clawed, my feet were crossed. So it was about putting in cotton buds and just expanding that over time as much as my body could manage it. I couldn't be washed. It was like sunburn, as if I was so sore. I didn't have my hair washed for 10 years. And then just over time, I remember getting a blow-up sink, and it was some contraption. It was a blow-up sink with a tube and a bucket. So practicing how long it would take to wash my hair for weeks to make sure my neck was strong enough for it. And eventually just one day just going with the water and one person pumping it in one end and it going down a wee tube into a bucket. And that's how my first hair washing was.
And look at the hair you have now. But isn't it unbelievable, the memories though, things we all take for granted, like washing our hair and washing ourselves and our body. And
I cried the first day I was able to get a pair of socks on, 12 years, because my feet were crossed. So it's the simple things in life that mean the most, actually.
I don't know if I told you that then in Enniskillen, but I used to be an occupational therapist before I had my life of whatever this life is. I don't even know, this life of media. But I know about how independence means so much to people, but especially to you. And I can see you flourish now in all your independence, and it's amazing. But that's been a journey from not being able to even get out of bed. Like, and then what I didn't really get to understand, and then a skill in that day, and I was like, maybe I'll get to ask her in the podcast. Was there new medication came that helped that physical change? What happened?
We tried so much with medication, but unfortunately, everything just. It didn't work. It made me sicker. It made me something that was maybe meant to help me ease pain. I ended up crying for 24 hours. I had to just come off it. It had the complete opposite effect to me. It was just again propping, going easy with the body, and then because I had so bad, my blood pressure would just plummet. So the hospital bed, we used to go up very, very gradually. So everything was done in stages. And then eventually on my 28th birthday, I was hoist lifted for the first time in those number of years. And I was hoist lifted into a chair for 5 minutes. And I was like a wee rubber doll, wee rag doll being brought back to bed. And then I wasn't able to do it the next day. But then I was hoist lifted again. And it just building on what growing on what you're able to do. And then eventually I was able to use a wheelchair. And I used to go around the back road with R plates on. So I always had a joke.
No L plates, no R plates, straight to the R's.
Oh, L.
Oh, L. That's what I was going to say.
It was L plates. And the only time that those L plates were removed, when I thought I broke my arm, I thought I'd best not go into hospital with the L plates on.
Yes. Oh, and so through that time, like obviously you had that determination to push. Was your mummy and daddy always? Were they the ones saying yes, you can do this, or were they worried, or were they holding? What was that happening there?
With mum being a nurse, she knew how difficult it was for other people to be ill. People used to say to her, "Why, Shelley? What's happened? Why, Shelley? Why is she going through this?" And mum used to say, "Well, I'm nursing everybody else's children, why not my own?" So there was resilience there. My mum nursed through the troubles. She's seen a lot. She's inserted more nasal gastric tubes down me than she's ever done in her career. But even though it was tough for her, she used to always come in and say a saying that her dad had, or my granda, and it was, no matter how bad today has been, tomorrow, there's always tomorrow, and always keep your head up, no matter how, always keep your head up should your belly be trailing the ground.
I love it.
So it's always was keep going. And you know what, when you're in that situation, you have to keep going. You got to do it.
The reason why I want to do the podcast is there's going to be people listening that are maybe going through this. They have a family member going through this, and I know they're going to get so much hope. So at that stage, Shelley, in those years when you were in bed, what would you say to people that are listening that have given up hope?
I would say hold on to hope. That's the one thing that got me through. I even called my dog Hope.
Did you?
Hold on to anything that you can that can give you hope, because there are brighter days ahead, and it is possible to to improve from it, or at least get a wee bit better from it. Just keep going.
And then what other symptoms then, because there'll be a lot of people watching this now that won't know, because I didn't know until I asked you in Enniskillen, and I don't even know why I asked you. I think you might have mentioned it in your talk, but your eyesight as well. Tell us about how it...
Yeah, my eyesight, I was blind during those years. Every muscle was affected, so my muscles were deteriorating and my eyesight wasn't great. Then light started to really impact me. So when I was improving, everybody had seen me with dark glasses, and not only dark glasses, but a hat on top of that to keep it from going in. So now my eyesight is improving. It's shadows and lights and movements as well, but I can't make out a lot of things. So as I am improving, there's noticeable differences in everything, so it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise that. I didn't realise there was shadows and lights and all like that. You didn't have any vision, so that's amazing that you do.
Yeah.
And is that something that you can see wee changes in all the time?
Yeah. And then if my body gets, if my body goes downhill or I have a wee relapse, it just goes back pretty bad, really quick.
So you have to really look after yourself here.
I do.
You didn't think so? You just told me you're heading to Dublin after this.
I I'm meant to be watching out for my symptoms and listening to my body, but once you kind of get the freedom in life, and it's very hard to listen to that. I have pushed my boundaries too far sometimes and ended up in hospital very, very quickly.
Okay.
But you just have to, Leanne's over there, listen to my body and listen to what it says, but I don't always do that.
I know, and look, that's what gives you that kind of passion that you have. You
Yeah.
can see it in you.
I just want to take a minute in the podcast to tell you all about our brilliant sponsor, McNichol Caravans.
Are you dreaming of a getaway that feels like home? At McNichol Caravans, it's not just about owning a holiday home. It's about choosing a lifestyle filled with freedom and fresh air and unforgettable memories. Picture mornings by the sea, the kids playing outdoors, and slow, peaceful evenings. Bliss. Whether it's adventure or total relaxation, a static caravan gives you space to reconnect with nature and to spend time with the people that you love the most. That's what's most important. With 7 stunning holiday parks across Ireland and Scotland, plus caravans supplied to top sites like Carrickdew, Juniper Hill, Russian House, Clonmany and Downings, Mullaghmore and many more, McNichol Caravans offer that perfect staycation wherever you want to be. Explore new and pre-owned models at mcnicholcaravans.com and make your dream lifestyle a reality. Your perfect escape is just a click away.
And now back to our guest.
What about, like, whenever you've got your mummy and your daddy, and you mentioned your brother and your family and all, and they're all being strong for you, like, do you find sometimes you just feel like all along that journey, like, oh, I just want to cry, I just want to give up, but you're staying strong for them, or what?
Absolutely. There was many a day that was so frustrating. There was many tears. There's many a time that I'd be saying to them, it's going to be okay, and it's the opposite way around, where they just say it's going to be okay, and nobody knew. Nobody, not even the doctors, knew the answers. But when my doctor, Dr. Burke, he didn't know what to do. He used to go and grab his mobile phone out of the car and just tell me a joke. And something like that, where you bring the outside in, just sometimes was enough to help you through that day. You might not have the answer medically, but just having a wee talk with somebody was a massive help.
He sounds good. Do you remember any of those jokes? Any of those jokes stand out at you?
I cannot tell them on air.
Oh, yeah. You can't tell them on live TV
No,
here.
I can't.
Oh my God, he sounds like a character. Well, that's what you needed at that time, to give you a bit of a lift.
Yeah.
I suppose, like, what did you do for yourself mentally? So I'm trying to think of people who are listening. Like, was there anything you particularly did? Did you, read any? Well, obviously you're proud of your vision, but did you have any kind of prayer you said, or was there anything you did to help you mentally?
I was honestly too ill for so many years to not even really be able to do much.
Yeah.
But as I improved, audiobooks were my lifesaver. They were what brought the outside into me. I was able to know what life was and learn, and that's where I kind of wanted to know more about education. And at that stage, it was CDs where Mum was having to change it every half hour, every hour. Now it's you just get the full book all in one go. But I would have went through 3 audiobooks a week, just listening and listening and listening. And that's what kept me going. But honestly, it was the girls that were in, my carers coming in, the neighbours who were around me, all were trained to be carers with me. So what I had for company was my carers and my wee budgies and my wee dogs, and that's what kept me going. And my family, and I just wasn't well enough to have visitors. I just wasn't well enough.
That audiobook thing, so because you talked in Enniskillen that day, and I heard you about, you missed out on all your education, obviously, because you were in your bed and you couldn't get out of it and all that. So that audiobooks thing started to come in, I'm sure, at a later stage. But then you were like, I'm not going to not be educated here. You really took it. So tell us about that then.
That was a bit of... It always got me, because I knew I'd left school at 15. I left school before GCSEs, so I always felt I had no education behind me. And you always were taught you need to have education to go anywhere in life. But with losing my memory, I had to be taught how to spell my name, how to count, and how to spell again. So Mummy was teaching me at and bat and cat and doing my 2 times tables. And I used to think, I want to study, I want to do so much. And Mum used to say, it'll be okay, you'll educate whenever you can. But what settled me with that one was the same year as I got sick, 1998, the Oma bomb happened, and you know, teenagers were receiving results and they were no longer here. And that to me made me realise, you know, I've got to calm myself on this, and whatever will be, will be. So then I went back to do education, and I did the wee free courses in college and got the learning bug.
So is this when you were
As a
physically able to...
physically able then to go to college.
And what did that look like physically for you to get there? How did you get
Physically,
there?
for me to get there, it meant having to leave on my own as a wheelchair user. I couldn't use my hands, rely on taxis, accessible taxis, and hope that when you get to the other side and get to college, that your support worker was the other side ready. It was very nerve-wracking. It was all new. You're relying on every single person to get the stage of what they need to be there and the support to be in place. It was crazy, the amount of work and support needed just to get me into college to learn. I had to have a hoist supplied by the college and carers coming in just to toilet me and get my lunch during, you know, breaks of college, just to be able to educate. I used to think it was so strange if I had murdered somebody or did something, I could have been educated in jail because it was an institution. But I couldn't have been educated at home. So it's crazy to think what you have to go around, you know, just to be able to get what you missed out on for years.
And you weren't going to let that stop you, right?
No.
Like, I'm sure your mummy, I can imagine what your mummy and daddy probably were so anxious too about you going out into the world. What do they say? Yeah, because you're like, you know, like after everything you've been through, did they talk about that time? Were they worried?
They were worried, but they also knew that I needed to get back into socialising, and it was very difficult after all those years to go outside and to meet people and to start socialising. I don't know how I got so bubbly and wanting to socialise with everybody, but it's just in me.
It is in you. Like, that's not, you can't learn that. You can't learn it. So then when you did, so you talked about those issues, and I think that's going to lead us very nicely into why you do what you do now. But
it wasn't always easy.
No, and that's what's, I suppose, spurred you on. So in those early days, is there any kind of stories of resilience where you had to say, no, well, I'm going to go back there? Was it hard when you went? Like, I mean, what did you come up against, for example?
Absolutely. Well, first of all was access barriers. So even just as a wheelchair user to get into buildings and things like that was extremely difficult. I'll keep with the college subject. One of the teachers was unsure as to how to teach me. So I was removed from class in front of all the classmates and told to go to reception, pushed to reception in the chair. And my classmates were having a vote whether they wanted me to stay or to go. And that type of thing, I now know is not right and it's discrimination. I came home, my brother lifted me and brought me home, and he said, "You're very quiet." And I said, "I'm okay." He says, "You're very quiet, what's wrong?" And I told him, and I thought he was going to be like a bull. And he says, "You have every right to be in that classroom, if not more." He said, "You missed out on the opportunity to study." He said, "Those people are in your class, you know, have had a chance." And he says, "You go back." I said, "I can't." He said, "You go back." So the next week I went back to my class, and I had two bodyguards of carers. They pushed me in and they said, "No, she's sitting at the door. She will be here. It's part of what she needs. She needs to be close to the door in case she needs out." And people surrounded me and they gave me courage to keep going back. And if I hadn't have gone back, I wouldn't have gone back to do my degree, my master's, and I wouldn't be where I am here with what I know, with my knowledge and everything, trying to help everybody. So it's that type of thing that people need to realise, that one act of discrimination or unkind, you know, being unfair to somebody could set your whole pathway for life.
Yeah, I'm listening to it, and I suppose your brother there was a big part in that too. Is it about being around good people too?
It's support. You must be around supportive people. I have such supportive family. Yes, I know they feel I'm doing too much and they're worried about me going downhill again. but they are supportive in every endeavour I go through. A lot of people think I'm crazy for half the stuff I'm bringing on, but to me, if I don't have something to focus on and concentrate on, I'm not going to sit in the corner and mope to myself and whinge and cry and get frustrated. I need to have something to focus on to keep myself going. If I keep going for myself, then I know that I'm helping others, and if what I've had to go through will help others, then it's been all worth it.
And you are helping others. Talk to us. So all those barriers you faced, like access, like the discrimination when you actually got in, and then all the things that have unfolded since. Talk to us then about why you, what other things you started to experience when because you talked about shopping.
Yes.
And you love to shop.
Absolutely.
You love the charity shop.
I love all shops. I love the bargain.
And she loves the bargains. You love the bargains. Talk to us then about that. What? Because whenever you talked about it in Enniskillen, I was like, oh my God, like those are the things I wouldn't even really think of. Tell me about that.
Well, as a wheelchair user, I thought when I got a pair of wheels, have wheels will travel, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. I wanted to go to pubs and clubs and hairdressers, and I wanted to do everything. I just wanted to. Basically, I wanted to do everything that I'd lost in my teenage years, and I realised I couldn't. All our pubs and clubs were upstairs. I remember being lifted down Crow's steps with 4 bouncers, losing foot plates just because I couldn't get into places. And then that was all fun at the time. And then you realise this isn't fair. This isn't what people should have to do. So I realised, I kind of thought, you know, when you're frustrated and you think it's only me and I can't do the things. But I started to realise, I was in different groups and started to realise others were going through the same challenges. So I realised if we can't go to the pubs and clubs and listen to the music safely, then I'll hire a hotel room and I'll bring in the DJs. So we worked around the barriers and the issues. So I formed the group JustUs 5 years ago. So JustUs is a pun on justice, and because we are JustUs. And it's to provide adults with disabilities, no matter what disability, regular social activities in safe, inclusive and accessible venues or environments. 5 years down the line, I'm so proud of it. From what started off with a group of friends getting together, has broadened into a complete change of perceptions within Fermanagh and the broader counties. We now don't just do discos, we do barbecues, we do dinner dances, we bring them to the Giants, Belfast Giants, we do bowling, we do walk and talk, cheer and beer, karaoke, you name it, the list goes on. We're just back from the Game of Thrones, and now the general public are thinking, they're quite jealous of JustUs because we actually have a social life. We're not known as the people with disabilities anymore, we're known as the people with names, characters, personalities, and all I can say is that the businesses in Fermanagh have been so supportive, and there's such a great team of volunteers and committee, and it's just one big happy family, and oh my goodness, the difference that it's made is crazy.
I know, and
I'm so proud of it.
I see some pictures, maybe you'll share them with us again, that we could put maybe up on our socials of the community that you've built, and somebody, but you see the smiles and the faces. I think it was like a dinner dance that you showed a picture of. But then there's a bigger movement as well. You want change in this space, right?
Absolutely.
So this is important because there's going to be a lot of businesses listening to this, organisations and people that can make changes in this area. And we want them to listen. We want them to listen. Tell us what you want to, I suppose, tell us about some of the barriers of shopping. You talked about a shopping story.
Shopping, it's more whenever I went travelling. So whenever my first big holiday to the Lisburn Premier Inn, it took 2 months to organise. I wanted to go and stay over at this thing, I just want to travel. So to organise that, it was like an itinerary. 2 carers had to be ready, and I had to purchase a hoist at £1,200 just to be able to be toileted and to be, to transfer. And suddenly realised, we're pulling at this hoist with a dog lead. The girls have got blow up mattresses because there was nowhere for them to sleep. They were pulling my cases, me pushing my chair, they were bringing their own baggage, and by the time they got that offloaded and mattress blown up and put the portable hoist up, it really wasn't a respite. There was no time to actually say we were going out or anything. So what I realised was there was so many barriers to access, and no matter what we want to do in life, And that's where I did the campaign Accommodation for All. I believe that everyone has the right to explore equal, effective, enjoyable experiences just like everybody else. And so Accommodation for All is basically saying that there are so many people with complex needs that are not participating within travel at the minute, and it's in England alone it's costing, they're missing out on £360 million a year just by people who cannot participate in travel. There's 12 billion annually lost, 12 billion pounds worth of accessible tourism for the UK alone every year. And it's, it's a win-win situation. By improving accessibility within hospitality, it means people can have a brilliant experience, they can experience travel and broaden horizons and have, a break from the routine. But it also boosts the economy. It will massively boost the economy, and it's very difficult for one person to go on holiday as a wheelchair user, but imagine groups of people trying to find a holiday, or families with several disabilities within it. So that's what I'm pushing at the minute. So through Access Avenue is what I set up. It is my business for accessibility. I show businesses how to be accessible and at a pathway for that. And I'm working on a development. I'm working on a development of software to help people with disabilities travel easily.
Yeah, because you're actually going to a big tech summit
Yes,
tomorrow,
yes.
which will be over by the time this goes out. But so is it an app that you wanted to create?
Yes, I'm creating a web app.
Okay.
I'm developing a web app called Travelies. And it's not just for people with disabilities. It's for the elderly. It's for parents with prams and, people with heavy luggage. It's anybody with access needs, really. And down the line, it will have activities and everything that people will need as a one shop for everything for them. So
unbelievable. And I know that there's major movement for you in that area at the minute, and that's why you're going to all the tech summits. You won awards as well.
I did,
Did you win an award
last week actually?
Tell us about that award.
I was with a group. I was the first cohort. It was an all-Ireland cohort. 35 female founders. It's called Tech Founder, and unreal even to get the chance to be picked as one of the girls. Such supportive girls. We all met up and did innovation labs together, and we learnt everything to do with what you needed to do to be a female founder in this tech world. And that gave me then the push and I suppose the platform to raise my voice and to show what I needed to do, to show me the steps of what I needed to take and where to go. I didn't realise I was anyway tech. I was anti-tech actually because I couldn't use it. But then when I look back, sure, I use voice assistive technology all the time. That's what I did my master's through. That's how I communicate. And I realised then that this was such a big gap in life, and this will help so many people.
Change lives.
Yeah.
What any wee things that businesses could be doing before you get this app going and before they have to knock down walls or anything? Like, what small things make big changes for people that have access issues?
I'll be honest, for me, the one big thing that was a massive, was attitude. Attitude. If you can go the extra mile, and even if you don't have the access, and but you do your best to help that person while they're with you, whether that be in your shop, whether that be at your venue, that goes a long way. Knowing that you've somebody there that can help you, you mightn't be fit to get to where the water is, but somebody can bring it to you. It's those simple wee things. Open a door for somebody. If somebody's coming in with a portable hoist, don't stand like you've got two heads. Run, open the door. Even say to somebody, "What can I do? Is there anything I can do to help you?" And don't presume that they can do it, and don't presume that they can't do it. Give them their independence. It's more about just ensuring that the person is okay would be the first thing. After that, just look around your building. is there anything that's in the way of a wheelchair user, anything that's blocking an aisle? Simple wee things that don't cost money at all. You know, it's, have you enough accessible parking outside? Is somebody using that parking when they shouldn't be? Those simple wee things that are a definite first stop before you even think of coming and knocking down a wall.
I know, because people sometimes, I suppose, businesses, the barriers go up where they're like, oh, well, I can't afford to be, you know, knocking down walls.
No.
But that first thing you said about attitude, like, that's free.
That's free. And a smile and a welcoming, you know, be welcoming. And you may not know what that person needs, but the simple thing is ask how can I help you, or what is it I need to do?
Oh my God. So you're on a journey, girl. Like, this is unbelievable. You're two things there because you have two communities there as well that you're sort of working in and
but
out.
they all align with each other. They do align with each other.
Yeah. What's your biggest challenge now then? Like, I know physically you obviously talk to us, because there'll be people who are listening to this and won't see you and they won't see anyway what's behind the cameras. So how do you get around now? Do you want to tell us?
Okay. Well, as a wheelchair user before COVID, I went to Buddy Bear in Dungannon, and Buddy Bear Conductive Education School brought me on. It's for children with cerebral palsy, but they wanted to see what they could do, because they realised 1 hour of physio by 6 weeks was not going to be enough for me. So at the start, it took 5 girls to hold me up to stand, and we realised that I wasn't going to be able to have 5 people at my beck and call every day in life. So I'm forever grateful to the Fermanagh public. They raised £6,000 and got me this state-of-the-art standing frame. And I was told to do 20 minutes of it a day, but it was COVID and there was nothing else to do. So the girls used to strap me in by my legs, my feet, my arms, and a big thing around my chest. From then I became known as a bionic woman. And so 6 hours a day of standing, lying down and sitting down, just going by the colours of my legs and the colours of my lip and my blood pressure. So it was sit, stand, lie, and that was how my life was for months. But that was my kind of improvement years, was COVID. It was very, very difficult just getting my freedom before COVID and then being told you have to go back in. That was like a slap in the mouth. It really was a hard time to be told to go back in, not knowing were we ever going to get out again. It nearly was worse than the first time, because I'd already started to realise what my freedom was like. So before COVID, I'd been to Buddy Bear and they had taught me the whole routine. So that routine was worked full time at home, and that enabled me then to be able to be moved by 2 and eventually down to 1. So I am not able to get out of a chair on my own, so it takes one of my carers to support me. I could walk for miles as long as I'm on somebody's shoulders. I need help with every aspect of daily living, from brushing teeth to feeding to dressing me to picking my clothes to doing my makeup to doing my hair. So even to be here today, it's like it's like a full-on workout for the girls up and down into me to get me here.
Well, here, you are a vision sitting there. So you have some makeup artists going on in the background. I know Leanne's in the background here, and she's great. You and her work so well.
Yeah,
together,
absolutely. I have a team of fantastic girls, and they're all like my sisters. We're all really, really friendly. And, you know, without them, without the support of all those girls, I wouldn't be here today.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to say about that. I didn't realise, I knew when you said in Enniskillen you need somebody to walk, but I didn't realise it was for every aspect of your care. And then how do you stay strong in your mind through all of this? I'm sure it's a constant daily thing. Is it? Do you do things constantly to look after your mental health, or how do you stay strong?
It can be, but to be honest, I keep myself so busy. I might be going to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning after all the emails I do. I'm waking up maybe about 6 and I start again. So if it's not working for JustUs, it's working for Access Avenue. It's putting together, knowing that I've to do a Zoom later on with the development team. So my mind is constantly busy. I have to keep busy to be able to keep mentally okay. Now, don't get me wrong, I have dips like everybody else, but I have to just say to myself, come on, you've got to get through this. Bounce back. And I usually do. I usually bounce back and just be, right, what do I need to do now? And usually what happens is when I have that bit of a low time, which actually happened a few weeks ago, I went down and I thought, what am I doing it for? What is the point? You know, I'm still working this on a benefit. I'm still helping people. I'm putting a lot of money into going flights here and there, and you know, it's mentally, it's physically, and it's financially draining being an advocate for change. So there's sometimes you just actually think, to be a voice for everybody, it's really, really difficult. And then when you hit that low and you come back from it, you say, I'm going to bloody do it. I'm going to do it. And I come back stronger. And I just say, someday this is all going to work out. And someday people are going to listen. And someday it's going to be easier for us all.
It is. And, you know, there's people listening, and even everybody's situation is different. And, you know, there's people who will never even touch the type of trauma that you've been through. But everybody has those times in their life where they feel like they want to give up. And why am I doing this? And, you know, why do I keep going? And even me with the podcast, I'm like, doing the podcast. I'm like, you know, I'll keep going. And my husband would be like, are you away doing that podcast again? Are you ever going to make any money? Yeah, someday. But then I meet people like you, and you tell your story, and maybe somebody listening's going to hear that, make a change, because, and then we all know we're doing this for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
Your reason is obviously, you know what I mean, like no story is going to touch that. But I mean, just to hear you and for you to be so honest and say you get the dips as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Such a bubbly person, but it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's only natural that you would.
It's only natural.
And everybody.
And everybody sees the smiley Shelley, and they think it's just that they see smiles, and that's all they see. And when somebody hears that, you know, you're not well, or you've ended up in hospital, or you've had the teary days, they're like, they don't see it. They don't expect it to happen. You know, everybody wants me to be this inspiration for them, and it's sometimes hard being an inspiration for yourself to keep yourself going. But what we were saying there is everybody has their challenge. No matter how big or small, everybody faces their challenge, and it's up to them. They're the ones that have to face it and get up and go.
And we can't give up, right? No. We have to have hope. Isn't that what you said?
Absolutely.
My sister-in-law actually has a wee dog called Hope, and he, is it a girl or a boy? I'm not sure actually, but it's a dog that they would, she's the VP of the school, and she would bring the dog in for kids that perhaps need that extra kind of, you know, they use it as like a sensory kind of thing, and just like a friend for the children, and it's called Hope as well. So it's definitely.
You know, that's the first dog that I've heard.
Really?
Or the second one called Hope.
St Patrick's College in Dungannon, their dog is Hope. Big shout out to Hope and Jean and all in the college. But they use that too as an outlet for kids that need that kind of space away from the school life and stuff, and they use it for hope for others. So it's definitely a thing. Shelley, like I there's so much we could dive into, and I hope you're going to come back when you get that app, and we can you can show us how to use it and stuff on social, and we can.
It's going to be a grading system, so it's going to streamline everything.
Amazing. Perfect. Unreal. I'm kind of with this series and the next series I'm doing like quick fire questions. Are you ready for me to fire a few at you? I'm so interested to know. So you're a Fermanagh woman, right?
I am.
What's your favourite place in Fermanagh to escape to?
Oh goodness, there's so many. Loch Navar, I would say the top of Loch Navar. It's a scenic drive. I can't see the scenic view, but to be up there in the wind, but to be honest, my favourite place was the Stairway to Heaven.
Tell me that, because I'm like, I forgot to talk about the flipping Stairway to Heaven. Tell me now. I haven't done the Stairway to Heaven. You have done the Stairway to Heaven.
I have done it. Yeah.
Tell us about it. What is the Stairway to Heaven for those who don't know?
The Stairway to Heaven is what is it called? Culca Mountain. Culca Mountain in Fermanagh, and it's been one of a challenge that I wanted to do. I did it last year on April Fool's Day with my family and my carers and a few of the committee out of JustUs, and I wanted to do a challenge to raise money for JustUs. Didn't realise how much of a challenge it was going to be. So on April Fool's Day we arrived and we got up. They marched me up it. Now whenever it comes to steps, they have to physically lift my legs. There's 400 and something steps, so we had to change over about 20 steps or so every person, because they were dipping down. They were getting very dizzy. So once I got up to the top, I don't know how I did.
Did anybody tell you not to do it? before you went?
I don't
You wouldn't
think,
listen to that?
I don't think people
Would
would
dare.
I think they know me when I take something stubborn. So I didn't actually realise to what degree that it wasn't just a challenge to raise money. I got to the top of that and I just thought, wow. I didn't lose a tear there. People always said, were you emotional? No, I did a wee skip and a jump on the top of somebody's shoulder. I cried in the restaurant. I cried in the toilet in the restaurant when we came down. I sat and I thought of all the people that had literally pushed me, pulled me, pushed me as a wheelchair user, brought me up that mountain, and everybody that had helped me to get to where I was. And I love the song Mountain by Sam Ryder, and it says, I am a mountain and down in the valley is all that I have overcome. And that just sums it up.
Well, that's going to be your theme tune for walking in this podcast. We're going to play that. That's unbelievable. And
it was more of I didn't realise how much of a personal challenge it actually was. I just thought, oh, here, we're going to raise a bit of money. But it became my strength for keeping going. I realised I've done this now. I can do anything. I can do anything now.
I need to do this. I need to play that
I need to get together.
Yes, we'll have all the Dig podcast listeners all behind us helping them feet up, Shelley. But you know,
oh, it took me months to recover.
I'm sure it'd take anybody, but especially with your physical demands on your body to do that, what an achievement! Yeah, unbelievable. I'm going to do it, and when I do it, I'll text you.
Yeah.
One word that sums up your journey so far.
Roller coaster. Absolute roller coaster. It has gone from wondering, will I ever get out of a bed, to having so many opportunities now, like coming and speaking to yourself. I be in England. I don't know where I'm going to be, and it's the opportunities, but also along the way knowing that I'm helping people, and it is changing perceptions, and it's a roller coaster. It's up and down.
It's a roller coaster. What's the first thing you do every morning?
I should say brush my teeth.
Yeah.
But that's after 3 hours of working.
Okay.
And when I say work, it's with my voice assistive, so it's going through all the emails and stuff like that. I'm a workaholic.
You are, because I was sending you through our pre-notes and then you were coming back to me. I was like, what time's she working at? Okay, better reply to this woman. So is that what way it works? Do you get like a voice translation of what the email says?
Yes.
I was wondering how that worked for you.
So I use packages on my phone.
Okay.
And one is that I can speak to it, so it types, and the other is that that it speaks back to me.
Okay.
Now I've tried every swear word under the sun with frustration with it, and it knows some of them.
And knows emojis too. You were sending me through all the emojis as well. But that's just interesting to know for people who are maybe struggling with online communication and learning and stuff I'm sure they know, but the packages, is there anyone in particular that you find better than the other?
Am I allowed to mention my phone? I use an Apple phone, and there's a certain phone, once it goes higher than that I use Siri.
Okay.
So I use voiceover and voice control and voiceover together as a package.
Okay.
And technology has advanced so much since when I was using it a way back. I can now use it just on my phone, and it's absolutely fantastic. I did my master's through it. Frustrating as hell. Plenty of tears.
Yeah.
But plenty of tantrums. But to know that it's manageable and I can do it, I'm doing my work through it, and I do my reports through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about taking time with it and learning it. I will say, if you're at the stage of learning all the commands, please keep going, because it will give you so much independence. I can have conversations with it, I can send messages, and it has opened up my life so much. It's unbelievable. It's a pity that accessibility in the physical environment has not improved as much as the physical digital space.
So true.
So, or the accessible digital space. So it would be lovely if both would advance together.
I know, and hopefully hopefully with AI, I know there's drawbacks of everything, but that's going to help everything move faster now, and hopefully in the physical space as well.
Absolutely.
There'll be robots opening the doors and, you know, we'll not have to worry about somebody not opening the door. But,
Yeah.
you know, like it's mind-blowing where it could go if
Yeah.
it's all used right. So that's so interesting, because I was wondering how you were managing with those late night emails, but here you were beating me till it. I couldn't even get back to you in time. A quote or a mantra that you live by?
I live by a dream. I have a dream, inclusive, sustainable futures for all, and I live that every single day. And someday it will be.
It will be. How do you find Carrickdale for getting in? Was it level at the front?
Oh, it was fine.
Good.
We got an accessible car park space.
Brilliant.
Very level coming in.
Brilliant.
And anywhere that the door needed held open, it was held open by your team.
Brilliant. That's good to know, and I'll feed that back to them. A small joy that you now never take for granted.
Everything really. It's literally just getting up in the morning and being able to get out through the door. That to me is joy.
Definitely. The most meaningful message that somebody's ever sent to you?
A very hard hitting message that I received was after I put up just a normal post of me smiling on Facebook. I got a message to say that I saved that person's life just by my smile, and I couldn't believe it. It's unbelievable.
So I suppose the message is that you never know who's watching, and you have an influence over them.
You never know, and I know a lot of people tell me that I am helping them cope through everything on a daily basis. So if my smiles on Facebook or whatever go up and it helps them, or by telling my story encourages somebody to keep going or to feel better through an illness, then
keep smiling.
Then let it be.
Absolutely. And if you had a big billboard, what would you want it to say?
I suppose, again, inclusive, sustainable futures for all, but it probably would say, keep the stubbornness going and keep shining. Keep smiling through every day.
Keep smiling. Unbelievable. Like I could sit and talk to you all day. Like my notes, I hardly looked at them anyway. I don't even know why they're in my hands. But I just want to say that, like, I had obviously told the team that you were coming and a wee bit about your story, but there is no words for your story apart from your own words that you tell it in. I try to tell Mummy as well, I've got this girl coming, and you never really explain it the way.
No.
I mean.
No. Where do you start?
No. And I don't know if you can you see that I'm smiling when you're
No.
talking? No, you can't. Okay, so the whole way you're saying that I'm smiling, but I'm a wee bit tears in my eyes too, but I'm smiling the whole time. You make me smile too, and everybody that's going to be listening. So and you give me hope too, and I don't have physical challenges like you, but everybody has struggles, and
everybody has challenges,
Yeah.
and some of those can be small to what seems to be others, but that challenge could be a massive big thing.
Yeah.
I think the thing to remember is help each other as much as we can, be kind as much as you can, be thoughtful and mindful that others maybe just aren't able to access the room just as you. And, you know, sometimes a smile or just saying hello to somebody in a shop, that might be the only time that they see that person. And you don't know what's going on in the background of anybody's lives. They could be out with a big smile on their face, but having to cope with a lot when they go behind closed doors. Just be nice. Just be nice, be kind, and, you know, that's all I can think.
Shelley, what can we do for you now? What can the Dig listener do for you? Can we help spread awareness? Where can they follow you, support you, signpost us here so that and we'll put it in the show notes for people. Tell us how we can keep going here.
Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm Shelley Cowan on LinkedIn. Follow me on all social medias, really. You can follow Access Avenue on the website. Also, just bear in mind, watch out for everybody. Think of accessibility first. Think, can everybody get through here? You know, question everything and tell people, you know, where they could maybe improve. And just follow me, follow my campaigns. I'm known as the Purple Lady.
I know, where's your purple today? I've got purple cards for you. So these, maybe you can't see, but this is Purple Dig podcast. So that's your sign.
Yeah.
Is
So
purple.
I'm known as the Purple Lady for
You are.
accessibility and disability. And I am the Purple Tuesday ambassador for Purple Tuesday, and I am an advisor for a new forum that's starting in England or the UK, Accessible Hospitality Alliance. So just if anybody can help at all within hospitality, within services, any venue, if you want any help or need any advice, just come to me.
Oh, you're here. Are you ready? Are you ready for what's about to happen? You're gonna be you and Leanne's gonna be flat to the mat. You ready, Leanne, for this? Yes, she's ready. Thank you for being my guest in the Dig podcast. Thank you for trusting me for the story, to tell the story. And
thank you for going easy.
Here, look, I didn't have nothing to do, just listen.
We didn't need the tissues.
We didn't. No, you know, it's all right to get emotional too. You couldn't listen to a story like that and not feel it, but we're smiling at the end, and that's what's most important, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you'll come back and tell us then when you're going, when you've worked through some of the challenges when it comes to getting that over the line, and when we hear some of the exciting things that you and Leanne have been at and where you've been going. But for now, thank you for being my guest on the Dig podcast.
Thank you.